up here? Oh boy, today I got you guys up at a different spot on my car. Alrighty, welcome back. It's been a minute. Well, it's been a minute in a sense that I haven't filmed anything in a minute. I sort of recap kind of where I've been. Took a little trip. So I took a little trip to New Jersey recently. I saw Hosier and I saw Gigi Perez, which, let me tell you, Gigi Perez is fire. And if you don't like Gigi Perez, you're wrong, all right? You're wrong. So I took a trip down to Jersey, spent a couple days there, went to a place called Gamers Heaven. I didn't get any footage. I wanted to get some footage at Gamers Heaven because it's like this cool little, it's just a cool place. And I spent more money there than I would have liked to. I bought a cool bag. I bought a cool Gojo, sling bag. I think this summer I'm going to be a sling bag kind of guy. Just have a little bag that I can kind of sling over my shoulder. But spent some money on that. Had a good time there. Played some games, hung out. Ended up seeing the Demon Slayer movie that came out. It's not the Demon Slayer movie. The JJK. It wasn't, completely different. The JJK, recap telling of the Hidden Inventory and Premature Death. So I watched that in theaters too. That was fun. And then I got back and I was a little just kind of wiped out from the travel, kind of the toll of that. It kind of just put me in this weird headspace, mind space, which it doesn't help when you're cutting because you're already kind of going through some, mental things there with, just the mindset of staying on track. But it really put me in this weird place where I had I was lacking drive. I wouldn't say no drive. I was struggling to just tell myself, get in front of the camera and do my thing. And I was working out in silence. And so I spent kind of that weekend, Friday, working out in silence. I guess for context, today's Monday. But yeah. And then I told myself I just need to man up and stop getting in my feels and just this cloudiness. I don't know, it was almost more of a cloudy kind of fog is how I would describe it. I was just I was cooked. My macros changed. I went down to about 2,000 calories. I'm sitting at about 130-ish grams of carbs, 200 grams of protein, 60 grams of fat. So my carbs definitely took a dip there, which could have been the reason for the lack of kind of drive. My abs are coming back in full swing. They kind of disappeared when I went on that bulk. Not that they disappeared, but they weren't as crisp as they have been prior to. So they're starting to get back to that kind of crisper shape, that real more defined shape, which is crazy. I had a slight cheat meal because I'm so far out. I had a slight cheat meal while I was down there. Went to a California kitchen pizza place, right? And while I was there, because that's where we decided to go out for dinner, right? And I was like, in my head I'm like, they got all these cool options. If you've never been to one, I've never been to one before, and they have all of these cool diet options that are super macro friendly, which I really enjoyed. Let me just kind of fix this. You guys are being propped up right now on a t-shirt. So, and I'm driving home. It's about 9 o'clock. I just got done with work. I got done with my cardio. I actually hit the gym earlier today, and I was gonna film all of that content. Here's the real kicker. I forgot the little bezel that sits on the tripod that you can mount your camera mount to Forgot that at home. So I didn't have that with me at the gym because I went right from my first job to the gym, and I was like, oh, that's not good because I'm not going to put this camera not on a tripod, all right? Like, I'll do that with my phone. I'll prop that up on stuff, but I won't film with this camera not on a tripod. I just couldn't imagine that. This is an expensive piece, and if that lens like scratches or breaks, like I'm gonna be so kind of like just not happy with that. I'll be very pissed. So let me just adjust you guys slightly. All right. So yeah, where was I going with that? So I dieted there. I enjoyed a nice slice of pizza. One singular slice of pizza. That was my cheat. And then for my own dinner, I had salmon. So, not as grandiose, not as grand as, some other people think of a cheat meal. I considered going like a full pizza there, which would have been cool, but in my head, my mindset was I was hungry and I didn't want to have something that was like going to be super like calorie dense but not filling. I was like, I want to at least have some room to have something at the movies. I brought some Quest chips in with me, but I don't want to be over my carbs having that pizza. So I was like, I'll just have a slice, because the slices were kind of small. And that was the other thing, is I didn't want to have the pizza and then be like, well, I can only have the pizza and then be hungry after eating the whole pizza and being like, well, I want more. But so I got a salmon and something else. Gosh, what was it? Sweet potato? Was it sweet potato? No, maybe. I honestly don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it was good. It was a nice cut of salmon, a nice little cooked, which you never would think at a pizza place you'd get a salmon. But it's like an upscaled pizza place. Let's first get that into people's minds. It's an upscaled pizza place. But I digress. So I have actual footage, though. I did record some footage, and I brought all my stuff to edit it. I just never got to it. I just got busy, and I'm glad I didn't edit the film. I didn't prioritize work, and I'm glad that I actually took time as a vacation, because it was nice to actually enjoy my surroundings and enjoy where I was. I'll give you an example. Like at the concert, I just enjoyed myself. I didn't think about, I saw people out there, I gotta flick up, I gotta get this cool picture for Instagram, and so people know that I was at the Hozier concert. No, I laid on the lawn and I just chilled. It was great. I mean, granted I had been driving all day, but I had just chilled, and Gigi Perez came on, and I shut my eyes, or I looked up. I looked up at the clouds, and I was just listening to the music, and I was embracing and experiencing. I was living in the moment, which was, the nice thing. And then the same thing with Hozier. I'm not the biggest Hozier fan in the world, I can admit that, but I went to his concert. I enjoyed it. It was great. Again, that's another thing where it's, my younger self would have been like, I need to film this so people know that I was there. But, the older I get, my big thoughts were, hey, I just want to be present for this. I just want to be living in the moment and being here, not necessarily looking at the concert and experiencing the concert through my smartphone, because I've got to record this, and, that way people know that I was here and I have footage of it. There's only certain times I'll do that. The only time I did recently do that was at this Neutral Snap concert that I went to, which, shout out to Neutral Snap. They make fire music, so if you've never heard their music, their pop punk, it's great. I love it. Check them out. But the big thing is just being present, and it was great. It was a great show, fantastic. I gained a lot of respect. I learned a lot about Hozier. He talks during his set list about a bunch of the charities, and kind of like, he talks activism and things that we as a country and we as people, just as humans, should do. And I find that a lot of celebrities and artists that do talk about this tend to typically talk about it and then not do it, or not kind of follow their actions. Whereas if you look up, some of his shows 50% of his sales go to certain charities. He's very generous with donations and runs a lot of organizations and just helps out, which is fantastic. I think more celebrities and artists should do that. I think if you're in a position of wealth and a position of power, it's your rightful duty to kind of help those around you in a manner that's not so much forceful, but in a manner that's supportive. Before we get off topics and go all, activism, we'll stay focused, we'll stay on task here. So yeah, that's kind of just like a small recap of the trip and me kind of getting back in. I mean, nothing changed from my kind of lifestyle. Bodybuilding and exercise and fitness has always been my lifestyle, so I was still working out. I actually got to work out at a pretty cool facility. Nothing crazy. I believe it's a chain. It's called Edge Fitness, and I looked it up. They got multiple locations, so I'm under the impression that it is a chain gym. So there's that. But it's a very nice gym. Like, if they had that gym in my area, I would totally work out there. But they don't. But also, I'm a big fan and a sucker for, like, the local type of gyms. You know what I mean? Like the classic kind of support local. Always support local. I buy my supplements local, support local gyms. But yeah, it was definitely cool. They had every piece of equipment you could have really wanted. They had a hip thrust. It was great. I hit a good leg day there. I didn't get any posing. I wanted to film today's workout, wasn't able to, but my next workout will be filmed, and I'm kind of on the fence. I was posting content daily, kind of keeping up with this like day-to-day format of, hey, here's a different piece. I work, 2 jobs currently, and they're both full responsibility jobs. And so as a result, it gets very hard for me to like find time to do content in terms of like filming the content, editing the content, putting it out there. It's very difficult for me to get all of that out every single day and in a timely manner. And so I also took this time to kind of think about myself, my brand of who I am, the content that I produce. I also live stream. If you guys didn't know, check out my live stream, CJ Song, on Twitch. Check me out. I stream there pretty frequently. But still, like, growing this and myself and kind of showing the progression of what it's like to do this kind of sport while also working. I'm not famous. Unfortunately, I'm not sponsored by these supplement and clothing brands where I don't have this luxury of my whole life can revolve around being in the gym and creating content. I'm not a personal trainer full time. I don't train people where that's my source of income, so I'm not spending all day in a gym. So it's taking the time that I have that's finite and condensed, and being able to pump out content that's genuinely good and not just some crap slapped together, but B, having the ability to generate consistent content. That's the word I was looking for. I want to post consistently and be consistent, but I think that I'm going to step away from this every single day posting and maybe make it like a every other day kind of like update. It allows for me, and maybe it is every day, maybe it's not. We'll kind of see, we'll play it by ear. I think it's just easier that way if I can go in, edit the footage, post it, boom, get that out. I'm on a bunch of different platforms. So I think that for right now, we'll see kind of where the content is. It's going to be regular to semi-regular, every day to every other day. If not, I'm going to still pump it out. And especially during like this getting prepared for being in a bodybuilding show, I want to post a ton of content of leading up into it. I think after the show, we'll see kind of the direction we take of Is it every day? Is it, every other day, where we're at with that? But for now, we'll kind of play it by ear. I just want to show you guys the most behind the scenes and the realest form of what goes into my day to day and what it is. It's not something everybody can do. Not a lot of people do it, I guess, as seriously. I'm not saying I'm the most serious person in the world, and I'm not saying that, I have it the hardest out there. I'm just an average guy. I think I'm pretty regular, and so being able to see people that are pretty regular and average and similar to your average person, seeing them go through it, I think it's a cool aspect, and I think that's the difference that I bring. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys. Actually, this will play first. So this will play first. Enjoy seeing the gym footage that I acquired while I was down there. But I'll see you guys in the next one. How do I look? Do I look beautiful? Do I look handsome? Alrighty. Where are we going today? Edge Fitness. Alright. Let's plug that in.
Starting route to Plymouth Meeting Mall.
Boom, boom. Good morning.
Proceed to the route, then turn left.
Today is... What is today? Like Wednesday? It is Wednesday. Look at that. We are down here in Pennsylvania, right outside of Philly. About to go hit our workout for the day. We got legs queued up. Let's kind of break it down this morning. Started the day on the road. Talked about it a little the other day about how you have to kind of plan and prep out what you're gonna do when you're eating and making sure. So yesterday, actually, on my trip, made sure I definitely hit a Chick-fil-A up. Well, I was so under in my calories that I had 2 hot dogs, and that for the most part kept me under. Unfortunately, I don't have a scale here, so I can't weigh myself accurately right now. But I should be coming in about 180 when I get back home to weigh myself, which will be nice. But a lot of the planning ahead and prepping definitely helped. I got a skinny-licious meal from what is that place called? The Cheesecake Factory. That's what it is. Which, by the way, love the Cheesecake Factory, and I might do it again. I might do another skinny-licious meal tonight, because those skinny-licious meals slap.
At the traffic lights, turn left onto West Germantown Pike.
Right now we're going over to Edge Fitness. I'm going to check that out. Apparently this is a chain fitness. I feel like I know Edge Fitness too, which is kind of funny. They got a few locations. They got one in Connecticut that I saw. So I could totally have been to this branch before, this chain. And if it's the chain that I'm thinking of, I'll have to take a look at my little key fob that I have in my bag. Because if it is the gym that I'm thinking of, they might have an in-body there, which could be cool to get done. The in-bodies are great. I usually go to a different gym to get the in-bodies done. To Green Arrow Champ, we got to go. I usually get in-bodies done every couple of months or so, depending on what I'm doing.
Turn left.
Oh, no. No, I need to get over the lane. Watch your hand. I need to get over into this other lane, but I'm not going to be able to get over just yet. Come on. Anyways. Oh, they're a Mets fan up ahead. Look at that. A Pennsylvania Mets fan. You don't see that too often. But, where was I at? In-bodies. Yeah, so I like to get in-bodies done to get a rough estimate of where I'm sitting for body fat percentage-wise. Because one of the things is that it's hard to fully track without any sort of measurements. And an in-body is not the most accurate measurement in the world. I will start with that, right? There is a solid margin for error when it comes to those things. So I like to get them done just to kind of check and see, all right, I'm at, you know, X, Y, or Z, and you track on a little plot graph and see, oh, you know, I've relatively maintained the same body fat, or I've actually trended down, and this is a trend, so I can have a little bit more accurate and reliable kind of idea, rather than just looking at myself and going, hey, I'm you know, what, 15% body fat today, right? And then, you know, over time, you get a lot better at identifying on yourself where you're sitting at, because you've taken enough tests and you've taken, you know, enough time, and you see yourself enough. So that is kind of the reasoning behind it. But if it's the gym that I'm thinking that it is, and it kind of looks like it is, I hope they have an in-body there. It won't be the most accurate because I've already eaten, I've already hydrated, I've had my first meal, which today we had 3 egg frittatas, 3 egg white frittatas to be exact, and 2 turkey sausages. So I'm sitting at a good 50 grams of protein for like 800 calories. My fats though, I'm a little high in my fats because the things had cheese in it. So gotta just be kind of cautious with my next 2 meals and keep the fats low. We're not gonna exceed 80 grams, but yeah, we're gonna get into it and go hit this leg workout. Alrighty, W. So here at Edge Fitness today, we got legs. Oh, it's the prone hamstring curl to start. I'm gonna start it light. This machine a little wonky, a little interesting. We'll see. I think hamstring curl machines are very hit or miss. They're either, ooh, this is really light. They're either really nice or they're really, let me adjust that. I don't like the way that I'm actually gonna adjust it 1 click out. They're either really nice or what ends up happening is I just don't get a full enough stretch. So what I'm gonna do is you can't really see it, but the angle that this has, I don't hate this. I don't hate this. That's much better. Alrighty, we're gonna crank that up to like 90. So, let me take a look. I know I'm not in frame for any of this. We've got today line leg curls, Smith machine, static foot lunges. I'm actually gonna swap those out with like either a hack squat, which I don't see a hack squat machine around here, but I'm gonna either swap those out with hack squats or a high bar squat today. One or the other. I haven't figured out which one. And then, oh gosh. It's actually not that bad. This is kind of a quick workout. So it's not too bad. I am gonna skip showing some of the stuff like this leg curl. I don't really have a great way to show you guys my reps. However, yeah, it's a good little introductory. It's a nice big facility. I'll kind of give a little rating or somewhat of a tour of this. I kind of like it. I'll do this last set and talk to you guys because it's my last warm up, and then I'm really gonna crank out these working sets. But oh yeah, so far I like the open space. They have a ton of variety in the machines that they have here so far. I guess it'll really depend though. So it'll really depend on kind of what stuff I can find. It looks like they have a big open power rack system, which I do like. So stay tuned for the rest of that. Interesting angle for these. I don't love this hack squat. Platform's not bad. I don't like this start. Also the fact that I can't get as low as I want, but can't even rest my head back to my man bun. It's an alright movement. We're feeling alright today. Not feeling anything crazy though. I give it like a a 7 out of 10 for the hack squat. Although they get bonus points because they got the iron hex plates. I like the iron hex plates. I think if I had to rank my favorite kinds of weights, as weird as it sounds, it goes first off, the metal ones we have in Albany, those are my favorite. Like something about the fact like you hear the iron and the metal clashing against each other, phenomenal. The iron hex plates are probably my second favorite. Those things, just something about them. All right, final set. Legs are absolutely cooked, which is weird. It's like a lot of glute fatigue, but I can feel the glute fatigue. But last set of leg, hack squat. I don't know why I got stuck on that. What else? Today, I'm excited. I'm going to Gamers Heaven. I think I talked about that in the last one. Alrighty. Oh, the terrible thing after this is I have more glute work, but I might push that off into calves next. Yep. Like 2 more. Yep. Here's my plan. I think I'm gonna flip the order around. I was supposed to go do glutes. I think I'm gonna do calves, glutes, quads in that order. It's a core, because I gotta hit core today. And we'll see. I wanna get in and out. That's the goal. Get in and out of the gym. Easily. One of my favorite things to do for calves is on the leg press machine. Simply because the seat calf machines, the issue is that you don't get as much of a range of motion as you'd like. With this, I can get that full, deep stretch. Oh, gosh, you guys can't even see. Hold up. Peep the calves, right? People always ask, how do you get your calves so big? This is what I do. That, and I'm also, on top of being 5'8", get that full stretch and extension. And you can load these pretty well. And what I try to do for a Q is I like to think about my heels dropping in and letting that ankle really kind of flex it. Not really so much moving your knees, more of letting the ankles have all the flexation. And really letting those kind of heels drop down. That's like a big thing, is letting those heels drop down. But that's kind of like, there's like 2 exercises I really do to grow my calves, and this is one of them. If I'm not doing these on a leg press, I'll usually be doing these on like a standing calf raise machine. I love the standing, but those kind of mess up my shoulders just because of the weight placement. This is nice, just especially the way that the waist stack goes on a leg press. But yeah, so far this gym is pretty cool. Cannot complain too much. I'm gonna get into the second set. I'll put the 2 up there. Oops. So yeah, can't complain about this gym too much. They didn't let me use my free pass. I signed up online. I signed up online for this, for the free pass, and I'm just gonna adjust this up while I talk for a second. So I tried to sign up for a free pass for here, and they said no because I don't have a Pennsylvania ID, which is unfortunate. So I had to pay like $14, which isn't awful for a day pass, especially with given the amount of stuff they have here. But maybe like $10. $10 would be more up my style. 14's like, all right. And I get it, you know, for one day, for 14 it's not terrible. But yeah, no, 14 is steep. I think there's a gym in the area that I go to sometimes that I think they charge 20 at a time sometimes, which is even more expensive. But the beauty of that is they're a 24-hour gym, so luckily I get to go there, you know, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, work out as long as I need to, which is nice. I don't know if this place is 24 hours. If this place is 24 hours, I think that would have the other place beat. Although the other place is less commercial and more like focused on certain aspects like bodybuilding and powerlifting, so like it's more tailored to that, where this is more of an overall wellness gym. So they got a plethora of machines and what looked like a handful of racks, but in this other place, and I'll have to do some shooting there, but this other place has so many power racks and so many nice pieces of equipment. They have a fantastic seal row machine there that I love, and I don't see many places that have a seal row machine. You know, here I am talking about back on a leg day. So I'm gonna hit this last set of calf raises. We'll go to glutes, quads, core, cut it from there and get out. You know, get in, get out kind of thing. All right. Oh, my calves with paleness. I have not seen, personally, in my own life, a glute raises, glute bridges, a glute bridge machine. I've seen glute bridge machines where they're plate loaded, and they got the little bar that comes down and stuff like that, or like the little belt, which I like, but this one's not adjustable at all. So like my feet feel a little far. And so like, yeah, no, I feel like my feet should be here, but because of the way the platform is, it's not adjustable at all. They're a little wide. So in terms of getting the stretch at the bottom, it's not the best, you know, but the squeeze at the top is nice. So if I had to rate this one, I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. Nice concept. The platform's just too far. When I do a glute bridge, I like to be able to get a really good stretch at the bottom half on the way down, because it works a great range. Whereas this, I feel like my range is a little limited because of how far out my feet are in relation to where my back is kind of placed, if that really makes sense. So that dude is massive. But yeah, no, so I'm gonna crank out a few sets of this, probably hit the last set on the recording, and we'll take it from there. I like to be a far lean back for these things. Ugh. That's too light. Let's do like 2 something. Let's rip these. Try to absolutely blow my fucking quads. No. Looky good. Weight stack right there. Perfect. Oh, all right. That's the move right there. God. It's. Yep. Oh, and I gotta hit some leg poses. I feel like I got a crazy little hamstring pump. My hamstrings feel like blasted right now. So, we're gonna finish up with core, and yeah, get some posing in, because I want to get out of here. But that's the worst thing right now, is that I'm ashy as all get out. All right, let's fire through. Oh my God, what's that over there? Got his ass. I know that wasn't on camera, but I got his ass. Yeah, work your forearms. Ooh. All right, let's take a nice little look. Pretty solid size on the back. Let's take a look. Pretty solid size all around today. Not bad. Pretty solid. Could be worse, could be better. It'll be interesting to see how much water retention I gained from last night. But